Cyclops, Captain America, and of course, Superman. What do they all have in common? They are all archetypal, big blue Boy Scouts. And what does that even mean? It means they are goody two-shoes. They are brave and optimistic. They are stubbornly hopeful, almost to a naive level. And they all probably still believe wrestling is real. This gives them the title of Boy Scout. This goody two-shoes behavior doesn't actually conflict with their masculinity. In fact, it adds to it. This is Boy Scout masculinity. And just a quick plug, if you enjoy video essays about masculinity, you can subscribe and like the video because I have plenty more on the way. Thank you. And without further ado, let's begin. These characters portray masculinity in a very hopeful way. In this modern age of social media, masculinity is constantly being linked with being the loudest, the flashiest, and most aggressive person in the room. These characters are the complete opposite of this, and yet have this strong sense of masculine energy. Superman mostly represents the old-fashioned side of Boy Scout masculinity. His overly hopeful and optimistic personality can be seen as cheesy and outdated, which is why we're seeing so many variations of an evil Superman. People are tired of the all-good, all-powerful superhero who can do no wrong. This charming sense of masculinity is now seen as outdated and is underappreciated in my opinion.
Bad vibrations?
Zack Snyder's Superman was supposed to be a realistic take on the character. What if a superpowered alien actually existed in real life? Snyder answered this question with a Superman that lacked his usual optimistic outlook on life. A Superman that was overly cynical. This implies that being an optimistic hero is unrealistic in today's world, which is just sad. The world has definitely become more cynical, but this isn't to say that there's no place for genuinely kind-hearted individuals who see the good in everyone. I love Henry Cavill, but why the fuck was he so depressed in these movies? The optimistic and best examples of Superman displaying his Boy Scout masculinity is Christopher Reeves, in my opinion. In Superman 1978, there's a scene where Clark Kent asks his boss to give half his paycheck to his mother, which just adds to his wholesome personality.
I was wondering if perhaps you could arrange for half my salary to be sent to this address on a weekly basis.
How many of you greedy little shits send money to your parents? Superman is a kind-hearted, genuinely nice guy. Being edgy and dark doesn't automatically make you masculine and tough. When Superman owns his Boy Scout personality is when the character is at its best, and dare I say, the most masculine. He doesn't see himself as above any job. Superman doesn't care about looking tough or cool. He does what's right.
Come on. It's all right. Here you go, miss.
Gee, thanks, mister.
In the modern incarnations of Captain America, he gets away with portraying his old-fashioned personality because he is literally from a different time period. So his personality doesn't seem out of place given the context. It adds to the sad fact that earnest, pure-hearted characters don't appear to reflect real-life modern society. In Captain America: The Winter Soldier, he refuses to fight a brainwashed Bucky.
I'm not gonna fight you. You're my friend.
And then Bucky fucks him up. Call it naive or eagerly optimistic, he still sees the good in Bucky. He literally bets his life on Bucky still being a good person. And it pays off. Superman also shows this naivete, albeit in a less serious situation. In the Justice League animated series, there's an episode where Superman has an innocent but wholesome moment during Christmas.
We used to wrap his presents in lead foil so he couldn't peek.
You mean Santa wrapped them?
Oh, of course, dear.
This grown-ass man still believes in Santa Claus. It's these instances of charming innocence that makes these characters so likable. And last but not least, I'm going to be talking about Cyclops from the X-Men. Cyclops is the most interesting Boy Scout in my opinion. As a mutant, he is discriminated against and has a tragic backstory. As a child, he becomes an orphan after his parents were killed in a plane crash. But unlike darker, edgier characters like Batman, he doesn't let his tragedy define him. Cyclops is the kid in school who's always serious in group projects. It can be overbearing and annoying, but in the end you're grateful because he helps you get the work done. Cyclops represents the stern, necessary leader aspect of Boy Scout masculinity. He constantly tries to keep the optimism of Professor X, hoping that one day humans and mutants could coexist peacefully. But because of his history and seeing so many of his fellow mutants being slaughtered, he slowly becomes more sympathetic to Magneto's philosophy of being segregated away from humans.
Why? Because the truth is we're nothing like you. Thank God, because it's the only reason you people are still alive.
Yet he still tries to find a middle ground. Cyclops is an example of an idealistic character who wants the best for everyone, even if the world is unjust. Cyclops, Superman, Captain America, these characters are all capable and reliable leaders. They are idealistic, optimistic, and bring the best out of everyone. In a world where masculinity is constantly being depicted as loud and overly aggressive, we mustn't forget that sometimes just being a good person is one of the most masculine things a man can be.